like the last batch he made of it, because there was one woman who bought it religiously, and when everything went down, who knows what happened? Maybe like that was the end. Like when the flavor ban hit, they were like, all right, what we got left of Wicked Fizz is what we got left, and let's try to clear these fucking glass bottles from back then. It's crazy. I'm excited to see what happens when I crack it. That's for sure. But speaking of cracking, why don't we get this show cracking?
Down.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's the Shedtime podcast in 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to Shedtime. What is Shedtime, you ask? Well, it's code for the consumption of cannabis, but it's much more than that. Shedtime's a state of mind. It's art, it's music, it's cryptocurrency, technology, it's food, it's vaping. It can be whatever you want it to be, as long as you're not letting the bastards get you down, not being a dick, and making it fun. When you're in the shed, it's whatever your mind allows you to create. So now let's get to the Shedtime podcast.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Shedtime podcast. And speaking of cracking, I got to crack into this. A nice, delicious Mandarin Juaritos.
Oh, dude, I still have a brand new, 1.5 liter pineapple in the fridge. And, I know that if I crack it, I'm going to kill it. So I might, wait for the weekend, and then I'll have a little bit of, help with it. Do you know what I mean? So I will drink 1.5 liters in a day.
I crushed the 1.5 liters of pineapple real fast myself.
I drank the grapefruit. Dude, I was surprised. I liked the grapefruit. I bought grapefruit, fruit punch, which I'd already had, but I never had the grapefruit, and then pineapple. So I saved the one that I knew for sure I already was going to love for last, and I'm just holding on to it.
Spot I went to is the Family Dollar Tree, one of those two. Same ideas. We all know them, right? They're all $1 to $1.25. Yeah. So that's the whole shtick, because obviously inflation's a bitch. Now they're $1.25 for everything in the store. But I was like, I'm gonna go on a snack run. I'm gonna see what I can find. I found a lot of great snacks for $1.25 each, and that was great. Big come up. All the Nerds clusters, the big chewies. I was like, yo, packs for $1.25, kid. Let's fucking go, dude. I was totally a fat kid this weekend and dropped $10, $11 at the dollar store just buying candy and soda. It was great. Good. But the Juaritos
you
there.
weren't getting bags of candy, though. You're getting chocolate bars and the real, low end candy and bags.
No, I was straight up buying Nerds. I bought bags of Nerds clusters in both the blue and the pink pack. So the wild berry and the classic rainbow one. I bought a whole bag or a big theater box of the Big and Chewies. I got a theater box of some Butterfinger bites. Unfortunately, something was wrong with those. I just threw it all away. I think a box of liquid fabric softener broke on top of the case of these, and you could taste a faint hint of fabric softener. Yeah. And I was like, I'm done. I can't. Nope, that's disgusting. Dude, but then I bought a whole sleeve of the fun size Three Musketeers bars. It was legit shit. I was dude.
One of the guys showed up at work today, and he just pops his fucking trunk, dude. And he's just got fucking bags on bags. Oh, I wonder if I put it in here. I sure did. Maybe I didn't. Where is it? Aha. I came up with a whole fucking bag of Laffy Taffy, bro.
Fire.
He had 3 or 4 bags of these, bro. He had a bag of the Nerds mix. So I had the clusters, the fucking big chews, all that shit. Fucking dude, and he just fucking filled up literally a little, probably a little 4x4 box and just fucking brought it in, and he has it sitting in the back at the shop, dude, and it's just fucking filled with fucking candy, bro.
Damn, he must know somebody.
Yeah, I think he's got like the hookup from somebody.
Like one of his buddies, like in the vending machines, or like filling
that, or
tests.
he just cleaned the fuck up on some clearance Halloween bags.
Yeah, but what James just showed, that was not a Halloween. Like, what?
It's just your standard fucking.
It's just them in there. Yeah.
I've never seen
Speaking
that
of which,
bag.
I gotta fucking crack open a banana, bro.
So glad we're talking about Laffy Taffy real quick, because we talked about it last week. It's officially out. If you guys don't already know, Mountain Dew released the answer to what the mystery flavor of the year was for Voodoo, and they called it Pink Fruit Candy, which was super anticlimactic. So basically,
when you told me that, I was like, oh.
I was like, a lot of us were right, and a lot of us were really wrong, I guess. But I had to do some digging into it, because obviously there are definitely bigger Mountain Dew fans than us out in this world who know all the shit and get the dirt. And from what I was able to dig into, it came down to a disagreement in the last minute as to the conditions of the shared result thing, whatever, the collaboration, that's the word I'm looking for, the collaboration between the candy company and Mountain Dew. So because of that, they had to somehow present that flavor in a way that they could tell you what it is without telling you what it is. And I mean, as I said in our group chat. So
what do you think happened? How come you think like Starburst like pulled out, or they pulled out on Star?
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, it could be Starburst.
I don't think it's Starburst, bro.
I doubt it's Starburst, because they did Starburst in the past. So this is why, like, I'm leaning towards like probably Laffy Taffy.
I'm eating it right now, bro. And let me tell you, your strawberry Laffy Taffy tastes damn near exactly like Voodoo, bro.
If you got a real Mountain Dew with you, like, I wonder what it's like to eat a piece of that and take a sip of your Mountain Dew right after.
Because it's got that same berry, like, because you thought it was like grape, maybe strawberry,
and I thought that it was. You were feeling some cherry in there.
Yeah, cherry and strawberry.
It's got that vibe, obvious, like the Laffy Taffy.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, what I picked up as maybe something grapey could have been what they were doing to create that taffiness, if you will. I mean, realistically, you could also argue it could be Strawberry Nerds.
No, it's not the same.
I don't think it is either, because I ate a pack of Strawberry Nerds on Halloween.
That Laffy Taffy is way closer, Sean.
I agree. I bought one of those big strawberry Laffy Taffies because my Walmart had them on clearance, and I was like, bet, I'm going to buy one just so I can. I
think that's exactly what it is. Strawberry Laffy Taffy Mountain Dew. I literally just took a sip of Dew, and I'm getting that same aftertaste situation that you'd get with the Voodoo, to where, you know.
Yeah. That was why when I said it last week, and I was like, I think I'm putting my final vote down as Strawberry Laffy Taffy. I mean, could it be a Strawberry High Chew?
Dude, I haven't had a Strawberry Laffy Taffy in so long. I kind of forgot what they taste like, because they don't taste like your normal strawberry. Like,
no, they don't. But they are fire.
Dude, I'm going to go through here and eat like one of each flavor now, because
I forgot how banging that banana is.
Dude, banana Laffy Taffy is like honestly one of my fucking favorites, bro.
I gave the kids Laffy Taffies this year, and I ate a banana one and was like, dude, I forgot how fire these really
the
are.
Grape snacks too, bro. Oh, yeah. So good.
I can't remember either, because a lot of those Wonka candies, they got bought by another company. And I can't remember who actually owns like Laffy Taffy and Nerds and all those now. I want to say it's Nestle, but I feel like I'm wrong.
I think it is.
I have actually no idea, because I bet it's a different people here, unless it's Nestle Canada or something.
Apparently, Laffy Taffy's manufactured by Candy Company.
Ferrero Rocher, which I believe is now tied to Dr. Pepper.
I wouldn't doubt it, dude. Dr. Pepper, Snapple, they fucking own everything. Whatever Pepsi fucking and Coke don't own.
Yeah, at this point, yeah, it's pretty wild what the Ferrero Company and these guys are all getting into. I mean, shit, Dr. Pepper is now the number 2 top selling soda in the U.S.
Behind Coke?
Yes, they beat Pepsi out.
Let's go. I would
Like-
prefer to have that over a Pepsi.
A Coke?
No. Well, yes.
Or Dr. Pepper?
Dr. Pepper.
Oh, all day. I'd
I actually think
go.
that there'd be like 2 other flavors that I would rather have than Pepsi.
I'd probably go Mountain Dew, obviously number 1. So, but if we're going colas, I guess Dr. Pepper's kind of like a cola situation. It's
Oh
just-
no, dude! You can just do like flat out,
just
like,
dark sodas.
Yeah,
And
dark
just
sodas.
Yeah, dude, I'd probably go. Coke's probably my number 1. Dr. Pepper right behind it. And there's days where those could flip. You know what I mean? Where I could go for a Coke or a Dr. Pepper. It just depends what I'm feeling. Then I honestly would probably take an RC over like a regular Pepsi.
I grew up in a Pepsi household, and I'll say, like, I'm not a big cola fan anymore. And I think it's because, like, unless I was, like, with my old man and it was a treat and he'd let me have a Mountain Dew, like, it was always just Pepsi was the soda in my house. So, like, I don't really drink Pepsi anymore. Don't really go for regular Coke. But the cherry version of either...
Dude,
Yes.
cherry Coke is so fire, bro. Cherry Dr. Pepper is my all-time, bro. Once they did that, they add that extra 24th flavor with the cherry, bro, and it just fucking takes it next level. Even though it's probably got cherry in it already, and they just added extra
Yeah, they just
cherry
probably
to it.
added a second cherry or something
Dude,
just to
so
make it a
good.
little more. But
Dude,
yeah,
but I will agree, dude. Wild cherry Pepsi kind of slaps.
it is the superior Pepsi. And I will say
Oh, for
this:
sure.
the mango Pepsi did not suck. I had
didn't
to try it.
I never tried it.
It was a very light mango, just like all the other ones that they've done, like the hint of lime and all that kind of shit that they
I
did.
had a peach one.
Were you guys ever like a vanilla Coke or vanilla Pepsi?
I don't hate on the
No.
vanilla Coke.
Me
I would
either.
go for vanilla Coke over vanilla Pepsi.
Yeah,
I'll go for neither. Like, I don't want either one.
I don't. Yeah, I'm not really too.
I'll have like that over a Diet Coke.
Now, dude, if they
That's
did
like
like
where I draw the line.
like almost like an extra vanilla root beer, that would be kind of good because it would be almost like drinking a root beer float.
Oh, I've definitely seen it done.
Dude,
I don't know if it was a
they should
limited
add
thing, but
They should just add ice cream, bro.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying
they
though,
could
but
easily do that. No. I'm just.
yeah,
That's what I'm thinking about. I'm like, dude, they should just literally make like a root beer float pop. You could do it.
honestly, like
AMW is pretty fucking close already, dude. Like their root beer is pretty close to like a root beer float.
I mean, it is the quintessential root beer for a root beer.
It's my
float.
favorite for a float, personally. Just drinking, not so much, but for a float, yes.
I don't really like A&W anywhere. Like, is it awful? No. Is it even in my top 5? No.
What would you pick over A&W then?
Okay, well, my favorite is probably like when it comes to like where you can get in most places would be Barks.
Oh yeah, dude.
That's
Honestly,
my favorite root beer.
Barks floats are pretty fire too.
But
IBC,
dude,
man.
like just like IBC root beer is way better, but I don't know if it's like in that same category because you can't just like roll and grab that in a can.
Yeah, that's the only
Right.
reason why I never had it as root beer floats because it's like fuck, I had to buy the expensive ass glass bottles to get the fucking IBC root beer.
But
It
there's
was-
like one
it's
that
worth
used to
it.
be here.
Oh yeah, I would agree. But when we were kids, my mom went and buying that shit.
Oh
No,
yeah,
dude, that
I
was
didn't
the
get to
cost
have
of
it.
like 2 other like cans. It'd be like 2 cans or a bottle of glass pop, and you'd be like, yeah,
Dude, no, dude, just a couple 2 liters and a fucking gallon of fucking vanilla ice cream.
Yeah,
bro.
we would just get like a 2 liter of mug or whatever in my house.
dude. Okay, mug root beer. That's better than A&W root beer as
I'm
well.
not a mug fan.
There was another one that was up here. I don't know if you guys had it. It used to come in like the Crush. I don't know if you guys even get Crush, but it would be in the Crush like rainbow pack. And it was called Hires root beer.
Oh, the Hires root
I
beer.
don't remember that one.
Dude, it was straight. It was better than A&W root beer. Dude,
Dad's root beer is pretty good.
honestly, no, it's really good. Honestly, I'll take like 90% of like store brand root beer over fucking A&W root beer.
Damn.
Like if I roll into like a national
But
grocery,
dude, have you ever got it
I'll
fresh,
get it.
like from the tap at an AMW?
yeah,
it kinda
dude, and you
takes
get
it
in
to
a
the next
glass
level.
mug if you sit down.
Yeah.
Dude, it's like
It's so good.
I think
Yeah,
for me,
I'm
maybe
just
it's not so
on
much
that.
that it's just like amazing. It's just like the nostalgia fact of
It
remembering
is.
of going to like an AMW and sitting there and seeing them pour it out the tap, and you get your frosty glass.
You
It
let
was
it
like
sit
having a beer
there.
at the fucking bar before you're able to, but it was also a delicious, sugary nectar of the gods that you could just, devour and then have a stomach ache 10 minutes later because you ate and drank it too fast.
See, I never had a real full service A&W in my life. When I was a kid growing up, we had an A&W in our food court at the mall. So that was my experience for A&W. So I still got like the fresh tap, root beer experience, but like it wasn't the whole shebang. You could do a float and stuff, but it was like hot dogs and a couple other things on the menu, and that was all you got. Hot dogs and French fries, I think.
Our A&W turned into like one of my favorite, like another location for one of my like favorite Mexican spots, which I wasn't too upset about. Because then at that point there's one kind of closer to my end of town, which was sweet because that means I could go and get it for like dinner more often. Otherwise, I'd have to wait till I went to school because there was one right by school. And then I'd go and get my carne asada fries or my California burrito or whatever. But man, shit's so fucking good, dude. Also, I apologize for any of the Shedhead listeners if my audio is super quiet. I keep realizing as the podcast goes, I get further and further away from my microphone because I just get higher
Deeper into
and
your
higher. Yeah, I just sink deeper and deeper into my chair. So if my volume dips, that is why. But leave us a comment. Let us know if I need to get closer or further away, or just need to just turn it up in general.
Yeah. So you could definitely get closer and all that, but I'm going to let y'all in on a secret. Your boy compensates for all of that.
Okay, cool.
So they probably don't even know that that's a thing, because like in the editing process, what I end up doing is I take Chris and my amplitude way down, and this way we match yours, and then in the mix, I bring it all back up to normal, and everything sounds perfect and full. Like people think our audio is done by professionals, and it's done by a guy who was just trained by a professional. It's a good thing. Speaking of good things, shout out to a buddy of mine, Mike D. He's got a cool project that he's been working on called the Jackie Chan Fan Club, which I think is a brilliant name for a music project. And he gave me a little sample of some of what they're doing, and boys, the world ain't ready for the silliness these guys are about to drop on them. How about some modern day 80s new wave?
That'd be pretty crazy.
Like, that was the first thing he showed me. Like, I haven't heard anything else, so I have no idea what else him and his buddy have been cooking up. If I know them well enough, it's probably nothing like the one song I heard, and that's awesome. But yeah, what he played me was very like 80s new wave. And I was like, this is really cool. I kind of dig what you're doing here. And then the whole song is about getting turned into a half man, half robot cyborg.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like, all right, dude, this is
Okay.
I'm intrigued to see where you're going with all of this. A little inside piece about my man Mike. Mike, one of his hobbies with his friends is to try to track down like rare, old, odd movies on VHS.
I thought you were gonna say rare earth magnets.
Magnets. How the hell do they work?
I don't know. I just heard the word rare, and I was like, earth magnets. That's just automatically where my brain went.
Nerd.
Sorry.
It's all right. I like magnets too, and I think about them more than I probably should for a normal person, but that's okay. But yeah, it's interesting because like he'll dig up like these oddball like B and C grade movies that like you can only get by like trading VHS tapes and shit. And he's like, yo, so we watched this weird movie called this, and it was about this, like weird story of this. And I'm like, how did you find this? And it's part of his thing. Like it's one of his hobbies. Another one of this dude's hobbies. This is why I love this kid. Motherfucker rides a unicycle.
You know how hard it is to ride a unicycle?
I'm saying, right?
Have you ever tried it, Sean?
Oh, hell no, I have not.
No
I
way
can
could ever do it.
partially ride a unicycle. Don't know if I can anymore, but at one point I could. But once I got going, bro, I can't stop, bro. You just gotta fucking keep going. Either that or you just gotta fucking lean to the side and just go in a circle. Like that.
Because I've seen people do some pretty slick shit, like when
Dude,
they're just like
what I could really do
they
though,
like fucking paddle.
I could pogo on a unicycle all day, bro. I could do that shit all day.
But they pedal right into a store and like they'll be like rolling down. They like hop up the curb and then they just like jump off. Grab.
Oh, you're talking about like the one wheel things, right?
That's what a unicycle is.
Well, yeah, but the unicycle you're pedaling, like actually pedaling. Are you talking about the thing that you stand on and it's just
I'm
one
talking
wheel
about like the wheel with like the two cranks.
Okay. Because dude, nowadays there's like these new one wheel things and these other things where it's like you put your feet on either side of it and it's just got one wheel and it's motorized and it's almost like a Segway.
Yeah.
There's this dude that delivers food on them and I see him on TikTok all the time. And he's like fucking whipping through like fucking like malls and food courts and shit on this thing and getting yelled at by security guards and stuff. Pretty funny. Anyhow, but yeah, unicycles are crazy, bro.
That shit just blows my mind. Like the balance and coordination to ride a unicycle and like competently.
Just like anything though, dude. It's like once you learn how to ride a bike or you learn like where your center point is, after enough practice, it just starts becoming second nature. You know what I mean? Because like after a while, your body just kind of feels like those slight leans from side to side, and your body already starts just making the adjustments by shifting your weight either way and stuff like that. But it does take there's a learning curve, bro, for sure.
I know this. I used to be able to skateboard. I stood on an old school cruiser board, and this was probably like a few years ago now, but was very shocked at my lack of balance on a skateboard now. It's probably been 25 years maybe now since I was last riding a skateboard, so it's not a surprise. I have a way better odds of getting on a bike and being competent.
I would be horrible on a bike.
I don't know that I could do tricks anymore. I might be able to bunny hop still.
Oh yeah, I could still do all that. I can
still drive down a somewhat spirited turny street.
Yeah.
Not
I
like
could ride
down
some trails, not like Ashton Palmer trails, but like, just some standard,
like I could ride leisure trails.
Yeah, exactly. Like
the one that's maybe not
the ones that you
paved,
would
but it's
walk,
well
yeah.
beaten. Yeah.
The ones that you would walk, but possibly could also pedal.
Yeah.
I'm not doing fucking jumps and fucking weaving in and out of trees all super fast and shit. I'll go up the hill. I'm not coming down. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. I'll come down it, but I'm not going off it.
Yeah,
That's for damn sure. It's interesting to me that as kids, we were so fearless, though, in those ways. Like, we've told those stories on this show before, and it's like...
I was and wasn't, man.
That's
There's definitely quite a few things that I definitely fucking chickened out from, and it was probably for the best. But then there are also those times where I just either didn't think about it or just sucked it up and just fucking went for it. And luckily survived to tell the tale.
Shit, I remember as a kid just jumping off of big, tall things because you could.
Yeah, like just jumping off the roof just because.
Yeah. Like, the grass will be fine.
Yeah.
Grass is soft enough.
And then you fucking land hard and your fucking your bottom of your feet just start tingling.
Yep.
Fucking rock them super hard.
Or that one time you just slightly go off kilter and you kind of like land and then fall flat on your face.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And then knock the wind out of yourself and
Yep.
Dude, that fucking feeling, bro. And everybody makes that wheeze, bro. Yeah.
You're like, I'm dead. No, I'm not. Okay.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe. That's always like the first thing that someone tries to say. I can't breathe.
Well, then don't speak.
No, yeah. If you can't breathe, then you can't talk. So shut up and fucking try to breathe, bro.
I think the first time I ever did that as a kid was on the swing set.
Dude, so scary, bro.
Fucking went up all the way level with the bar, tried to jump off and be cool, and didn't do it right, and landed flat on my back.
I've definitely done it a few times, doing multiple different things that I shouldn't have been doing.
I mean, that's all part of life, though, I think.
Oh, for sure.
You got to get the lumps as a kid. You know what I mean? Like, that's part of it. I think if you don't, if you don't catch some lumps here and there doing silly, dumb shit as a kid, like, are you really living as a kid? I'm too old now. I got too many responsibilities to do a lot of those things. You know, I got work in the morning. I can't fucking be jumping off of fucking houses anymore.
It was like a while back, we had these couple younger kids at work, and two of them brought their skateboards to work, and they're like doing like fucking tricks and shit on their like brake, like, you know, like little ollies and kick flips and shit like that. And I'm just like sitting there thinking, like, man, fucking, you guys aren't even thinking about the possibility. What happens if you fucking just roll your ankle and now you fucking can't work? And it's because you're fucking skateboarding on your brake like a fucking idiot. No, is it really worth it? Wait till you get home at least. Get through your fucking work day. Don't bust your ass halfway through the day.
I mean,
unless maybe they're trying to get a reason to get sent home.
Young kids,
I
though,
wouldn't put it past them.
They're going to bounce back faster than us. So, I mean...
Well, also, like, dude, at that time, you don't even think about that shit. You don't care. You're not, like, worried about it. You're like, and just like that, you do bounce back fast. Like, you might have, like, a rough, like, week at work, and then you're going to be fine. You just pay for that when you're older. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, my whole thing is they're not thinking about the team, man. Because if they fucking fuck themselves up, then they're out and they fuck everybody else.
I mean, I guess there's that, yes.
I mean, we're assuming that they're going to go home.
Oh, guaranteed if someone gets hurt, they're probably going to go home. They're not going to allow them to work and get hurt while working. Damn, this bag just hit me, bro. Like, and you're high. Is that moment of realization when it's like 1, 2, 3, you're high?
Yeah. People say you can't get hella high from flower. You just gotta vape it right.
Couple bags out the old volcano, bro. I'm off to the races.
Had those sessions where you get like a good, nice, like sticky, moist one. And you can get like maybe 4 or 5 bags out of it before it starts tasting gross.
Dude, I think it's because I'm making my bag so big, or maybe I might have my temp too high, but I'm only getting like 3 good bags out of my bowls lately. Maybe I also just need to clean my screens and stuff.
Oh, that helps a lot for sure.
It's not so much the bowl screen as much as it is the chimney.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I have my times where I'm like, this bag should have been full like 2 minutes ago. What's going on? And I look at it and I'm like, oh yeah, that's a thing. I will say, the buds are starting to actually smell terpy.
Really nice.
Where are we now? We're at 18 days into the cure, and I'm just starting to pick up some terps out of here.
Oh, let me see that nugget. Hold on, don't wait, whoa.
Hey.
Don't just pull that out, sniff it, and put it back, bro. Show the homies. What the fuck is this guy doing, Chris?
There you go.
Ooh.
Yeah, we cleaned it up, so I got rid of all the unnecessary stems now. So I've just got all my buds, and
can you give it a little squish?
All right, let me get back and
without. Oh yeah, that's all I needed, bro. Yeah, I just wanted to see. I just wanted to see the bounce of the nug. I just wanted to see if there's any give, and that looked like it was pretty dense.
I mean, even one of these smaller ones right here. I mean, we can.
Oh yeah, that's going to be a nice one. Dude.
Like again, I can give it a good squeeze. We're not getting a heavy squish. There's a nice little bounce back.
Pretty frosty.
And yeah,
dude, they are. It looks way frostier than last time. I feel.
I pushed this batch a whole 2 weeks further into the.
Dude, sometimes, flower. So bro. Sometimes it's worth giving it that extra.
That was the thing. I just kept watching the trichomes, and I'm like, they're still not turning amber. They're all just super milky, so I know I still got time. Once they start going amber, I know that I'm starting to lose terps and lose potency. So I think I pulled these ones at just around 10 weeks. And like even the small buds, like, look at how ridiculously frosty these little popcorns ended up.
It's not even so much the frostiness.
Oh, nice.
It's not even so much the frostiness that you're going to also get from that. You're just going to get a denser bud because they're going to have that time to fill in. You know what I mean?
So this was the purple turple, and what I'm starting to pick up now is some like very grapey note.
Oh yeah, if it's some legit purple, it will.
So the purple turple is a purple chem cross. So this was a garlic breath and purple chem, if I remember correctly. But yeah, they're like I say, 18 days now at this point. That's how we're looking, and we're just starting to get some terps off them. So I'm saying by day 30. When I get the first taste on these, I got a funny feeling we're going to have something pretty special here, too. So far, these Mass Grower Connection genetics have been very outstanding. Which makes me excited for the latest ones that I'm popping, because those are Triangle Mints Garlic Breath Cross. So we got some Kush lineage coming in with the garlic breath now.
Yeah, I'm working with some OZK right now. Little Skittles OG Kush cross.
That's got to be delicious.
It's pretty nice, dude. I just finished up yesterday the last of that red eye OG that I had, dude. Oh, it was so good, bro.
Keeping you red-eyed?
Had me stoned for sure. The only thing about that one is it was definitely a little bit more kind of had more of like an earthiness to it, sort of. It was a little bit more harsh, like on the old throat. You know what I mean? It really had a real heavy throat hit, even out of the bag.
It's funny, right? Because like sometimes I crave that experience.
Yeah, it depends though. It depends on like where I'm at.
It's when I want that harshness.
It's perfect. Hold on, let me grab this bag. Get back to my. It's perfect for those moments where I'm wanting, like, where I'm like craving like a bong rip. You know what I mean? Because bong rips, obviously, when you take a nice fatty fucking milky bong rip and you fucking clear that whole thing, and you get that fat throat hit instantaneously, and then of course, that causes some coughing and other situations and feelings and sensations that I kind of miss from time to time.
That was why I bought this thing. This is the 18 mil adapter for my bags.
I'm slightly disappointed with this thing, Sean.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks really cool though.
It does. It's just like, I feel like I'm sitting here and I'm ripping the bag fucking forever, and I'm not getting as much of fucking a production out of it compared to just like ripping it out of this thing. I get just straight fucking cloudage. But I think it's also, because it has to go through the fucking water and all that. But I just don't think this thing seals as well into this.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what I mean?
I could see that. I mean,
not only that, but like if you're not paying attention and you accidentally like blow into this thing, or you like pull the bag and it like pulls air through it. Dude, I've had it empty into the bag.
Yeah, that's no bueno.
Yeah,
wet inside of the bag means you're pretty much needing to take your bag apart to dry it out.
Yeah, I just made a new bag.
Yeah, like that's
one's pretty much done. And the last time it happened, it was only like a few drops. So I just sat here and just filled it up with air, and then like fucking put my fucking thing in it and just like emptied it by pulling the bag, and just like fucking ran it through a few times, and eventually just dried out.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't like it. I will say, like,
all right, let me try another rip on this thing.
I definitely think that you're right about it, like losing some of the vapor because it's going through the water. I mean, it only makes sense, right? Because that is the one thing I notice with using a bigger bong. Like that's again, I bought the 18 mil adapter so that way I could use the bigger bongs, and like once you pull enough vapor through that thing, it's gone through the water filtration and everything, and it's like you lose some of the punch now. That I find I just prefer ripping the bag.
I might have to take it back because it's actually ripping right now.
More research needs to be done.
Stay tuned till next week.
I mean, realistically, right? Like, the more you use it, the more you get used to it, you may fall in love with it. And it may be one of those things that, like, it's a worthwhile investment. Because, like, how much is that thing?
It's like $20 for the glass and like $20 for the little mouthpiece attachment guy thing.
The adapter piece for it?
Yeah.
So, like, $40 total to set it up like that. Not a bad little investment if that's something that you're looking for. And it turns out to be something worth using for those purposes.
I even tried hooking the whip up to it. You can just
how'd that go?
You just put you slide the whip onto this piece right here, and then you just go. Well, I tried to turn the pump on, bro, and then the fucking bubbler was bubbling, my dudes. It was going pretty fucking crazy, so much so that it was fucking spitting out the fucking thing. Yeah. Now, that's kind of gnarly, but it wasn't getting enough vapor still. But I don't know. I could have been just because I may have not had a fully heated cauldron on there or chamber or whatever it's called, so it just wasn't producing as much vapor. Or it could have been that I was at the end of a bowl, so like it just wasn't putting out.
Yo, speaking of chambers,
I thought you were going to say, speaking of not putting out.
Hey! So I bought the connoisseur bowl for the air riser because this just made a lot of sense to me. Lower the screen closer to the heating element, you're going to get, more consistent, better heating. Gave it a go. That's how I've used it majority of the time. I recently flipped it so that I could do the mini flavor bowl, as they kind of describe it. And that's kind of a cool experience. Because, you pull away from the heating element, so now you've got to let that heat rise up into the glass a little bit longer. But now you're significantly condensing the amount of flour material that you're using, and it's right on top of the neck, basically, that's going to feed your bag. So the terps get preserved incredibly well. So you end up going through a couple bags of just light vapor, but super terpy. And then by that point, now the heat gets up.
Like, dude, when you fill this thing up and just do one bag, it's like a super terpy, bowl full, because it's not super fucking, dense amount of material. I usually don't run it as hot either. Because it not only is this thing smaller, but it's got a fucking bigger plate. It's got more metal to it, so it's obviously going to retain more heat. So you just turn it down a little bit, let it sit on there a little bit longer, so before it heats up. And then, dude, you'll get one pretty decently milky bag.
It honestly, it makes me think about taking the flavor toots, right? When you get that kind of build that you could just turn it down a bit and just take super long flavor vapes.
Yeah, the only problem is I want another one immediately after, so then I have to empty it and refill it again. So then I just say screw it, and I just fill up the big bowl.
That's what I liked about this one. Because, I waited, let it purge a bit till I start seeing a little vapor, throw the bag on, and I was able to get a couple bags. Again, I don't run as big a bag as you are. That's a definite thing. I'm running much smaller, standard size bags. So I get a couple bags that are just straight flavor vape, and then because it's the glass, the heat catches up to the top now, and that's when I get one good mouth puncher. And those couple of little flavor bags, I look forward to testing the new flour using that. Get a real good sense of what terps we're dealing with. You know what I mean? And speaking of, you know what I mean, do you ever watch the Ernest movies?
I watched some of them. I did, I can't remember how they were. There was an Ernest Saves Christmas. I watched that for sure. I feel like there was an Ernest Halloween movie. I watched that probably.
Scared Stupid.
The original one, I definitely saw the original one, the first.
Ernest Goes to Camp.
Yeah, I've seen that. Is there Ernest Goes to Hollywood?
Yep.
I've seen that too. So yes, I guess I've seen the Ernest movies.
Those are the original four, and then I guess there's some other ones that came after that weren't by the same company. I guess the Ernest movies, the first four were originally put out by Disney under one of their other branches. But I learned a whole bunch about him recently because it turns out my boss is a huge Ernest fan. I guess growing up in Louisiana, Ernest was already shilling stuff for all sorts of people down in Louisiana and like that whole southern region. And so he was already a household name just from being on dozens and dozens of commercials selling different products and, you know, shilling different companies and brands. And so that level of recognition was what led to him starting to get his notoriety. And it got to a point that like people, what was it? Johnny Cash had him go on tour and open with a stand-up set before Johnny Cash would go on live. Like, I had no idea that this man was this big a deal to that many people.
I feel like a lot of people knew who he was, like because they would have watched one of those movies or just seen something about those movies. But I wouldn't have thought that there was a lot of people that would be like big fans. But I guess it only makes sense. Anybody that has fame is going to have a big fan, Ernest or not.
I've now met two. I don't know what those odds are, but I feel like it's pretty rare to run into two people in your life who are actually big Ernest fans.
It's like a Weird Al Yankovic. Like, you ever met a big Weird Al fan?
I have.
People know who he is, and like, you know what I mean? But
and that's the thing, right? Like, I feel
few far between.
I feel like a lot of people have one friend that they know, or one person in their life that they've, you know, known, who is a Weird Al fan. Like an actual, like, will go to concerts, dress up, that sort of thing. Weird Al fan. Can tell you, like, history.
Yeah, if you can tell me history of Weird Al, like, that's interesting.
I just know...
or Ernest, for that matter.
Yeah. I just know with Weird Al, the movie was at UHF.
Yeah, I like that movie.
That movie was good. And, you know, obviously some of those early hits that he put out there of his parodies that, you know, made him so big. Like his Eat It and Amish Paradise. Like those 90s ones. His fucking Smells Like Teen Spirit spoof.
Yeah, what was that one?
Something about singing. No one can understand him, and it sounds like he's singing with marbles in his mouth. That's all I can remember.
Yeah, Eat It was definitely one on that album for sure.
Let's see.
Yes.
Weird Al. Smells Like Teen Spirit. Oh, it's called Smells Like Nirvana. So that's the name of the song, Smells Like Nirvana. And the lyrics go, what is this song all about? Can't figure any lyrics out. How do the words to it go? I wish you'd tell me. I don't know. Don't know. Don't know. Don't know. Oh no. Now I'm mumbling and I'm screaming and I don't know what I'm singing. Crank the volume. Ears are bleeding. I still don't know what I'm singing. We're so loud and incoherent. Boy, this oughta bug your parents.
Gotta give it up to Weird Al. He's a genius.
Literal genius. And I mean, that song was released in 1992.
Really? When did the first Nirvana song come out? In 1992?
Let's see. Smells Like Teen Spirit. Let's see.
Maybe the year before, 91.
Smells Like Teen Spirit release date. August 27th of 91.
Oh, okay. So Weird Al is just like in the works, like right after it got big.
Yeah, he heard it and was like, "Oh my god, I'm inspired." Like, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Like, that's amazing. That's fucking amazing. that less than a year later, he's dropping his fucking parody. And I did remember seeing an interview with Weird Al where he talked about that, and he said that, you have to get permission to be able to release these parodies, right? And so he actually had to speak to Kurt Cobain, and he's like, I'd like to do a parody of Smells Like Teen Spirit. And Kurt Cobain's like, so what's it going to be about? And he's going to be, Weird Al says, it's basically about how nobody can understand what you're saying. And Kurt laughed and said, yeah, go for it. And here we go. Smells Like Nirvana.
That's actually hilarious. It's basically about how nobody can understand what you say. You know what I mean, Kurt?
Yeah. Like, yeah, man, I'm so doped up. I don't understand what I'm saying, man.
It's like, why not, dude?
I mean, shit. Nirvana put out some music, man. It was a big part of my teenage, well, maybe not teenage, early preteen years. When I was first finding like guitar rock type music. Nirvana was all over the radio because, late 90s still. And I was like, yep, I'm going to listen to Nirvana.
Yeah, it was probably like when Unplugged came out and shit.
Yep. I mean,
at that time, Kurt Cobain was probably dead for like 4 or 5 years by that time.
So was it 96 when he died or earlier, 94?
Might have been 94.
I think it's 94. Hold on. When did Kurt Cobain die? April 5th, 1994. Okay.
Yeah, I was still in grade school.
So, I was little, so I don't fully, remember it. But at the same time, that was around that time that I was beginning to, hear it around a lot because my cousins, who are all older than me, were listening to Nirvana. It was all over the radio, obviously. So it was in my life growing up. So once I was, probably somewhere in the 97, 98 range where I was really starting to make my own decisions about the music I liked, I started listening to bands like Nirvana because they were on the radio and I liked it. Then I started learning about everything and was like, holy shit. The whole conspiracy theories that go with Kurt Cobain's death,
with his wife and shit?
His wife or some of the other conspiracies that are out there that it was actually due to other issues. I've heard so many versions of what people think happened, and it's some of these people have compelling arguments.
What was in the police report? He shot himself in the face with a shotgun, right?
Yeah, that he took a shotgun while high on a inhuman amount of heroin and managed to maneuver it so that he could use his toe to pull the trigger of the shotgun. But the conspiracy theorists will point to the fact that there's no evidence of any kind of pressure points on his toe from when he would have had to jam his toe inside the ring around the trigger, and also no kind of gunpowder evidence in those areas. There's talk of woman's lipstick on cigarette butts in the ashtray that were fresh cigarette butts. He's doing dope with people. It's going to happen, right? People smoking butts while they're doing drugs. It's a thing. So that I don't think is anything of evidence, but there's always been that. Did it really go the way that they said it did, or was he murdered? And there is the person who's come forward and said that he was the guy that Courtney Love tried to hire as a hitman to kill Kurt. There's nothing to validate it aside from his story. And, it's just a he said, she said. But there's a lot of people who believe it for what it is. It's a crazy rabbit hole to go down, and I went down it when I was like 12, 13 years old.
Yeah, I mean, when that all happened, like I had friends that loved Nirvana, like even in grade school. It seemed like there was like the really popular bands with like grade school kids at the time, like when you're in like grade 7 or grade 8 kind of shit. It was like Pearl Jam, STP, Nirvana, like Metallica. I didn't really like Nirvana. But obviously like I had friends that liked Nirvana, and that news like hit pretty hard just because I don't know. He was like this famous person and he killed himself. It seems so crazy. Maybe like a benefit to that is like that prepared me because like not that long after, like there was a kid I went to school with and he ended up killing himself, and it like made it. I don't know if I would say it like made it not as harsh, but like I'd say I never really thought about people that felt like there was no way out before, and so maybe it just like kind of brought that to the forefront of my mind, so it made it more digestible for me. But yeah, man, that's crazy that. And then Nirvana, dude, like they are still talked about all the time. I guess it probably helps that other people in Nirvana have like went on and been very, very successful outside of Nirvana.
Oh, 100%. I mean,
like Dave Grohl's obviously massive as fuck.
Dave Grohl,
even like Pat Smear, like he did really well. Like he was with the Foo Fighters and shit, but like he did really well. He was like the fourth guitarist. He was like I think that he started as a touring guitarist and then he just became a guitarist.
Yeah. Yep. That sounds about right. And if
like
I remember correctly, Chris Novoselic went into like production and did like the more like studio stuff. So like none of them had any wants afterward. They continued to do great things.
Well, dude, just the amount of money that like Nirvana must have made. I guess it all depends on how the deals work. You know, that whole side of the industry, I clearly have no idea, but somebody's made a lot of money from Nirvana, like way after.
Oh, the label, bro.
Yeah, the label always gets their cut.
Yeah.
It depends on how the deal was fully written, but for at least a certain period of time, the label is always going to get its cut. And then
in those days, Sean, you know they got fucked up in like some sort of 360 deal or some shit.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, the weird thing is that like because they did, you know, things the way they did back then, those contracts were so shiesty, I guess is the only word I can use. Like there's so many like legal loopholes for the label and like so many ways to shut down the artist at those times because you didn't have the technology we have to share music now. Let's see if Google's got this.
But I don't feel like people even really still really understood what it meant to be signed. You know what I mean?
Owns the rights to Nirvana's music.
Well, dude, now it's like 30 years old.
So
I don't know if that makes a difference.
Someone may have purchased it by now.
So the rights to Nirvana's music are owned by multiple parties, including Primary Wave Music, who manages the administrative rights for Nirvana's songs. Says in 2006, Courtney Love sold a large portion of the rights to Cobain's song catalog to Primary Wave. Kurt Cobain's estate owns more than 98% of the publishing rights to Nirvana's music. The estate earns money from album sales, merchandise, radio plays, online streams, single sales, and name and likeness usage deals. And then Frances Bean Cobain controls more than a third of the estate, which is the daughter of Kurt. So that's
crazy.
Yeah, I mean, shit. At one point, Michael Jackson, as I recall, owned the rights to the Beatles' music.
Oh yeah,
like so. Michael Jackson was getting paid every time somebody bought a Beatles record or played it on the radio or used it in a commercial. Like,
Yeah.
that shit's crazy to think about. And now, like, a lot of artists are doing it. Like, I hear more and more, like, yep, they sold their rights to their catalog for, $220 million or some crazy number like that. And you're like, holy shit. Like, and I'm talking people like, I can't say that it was these artists, but people of the legendary caliber, like of the Rolling Stones and Led Zeppelin caliber, like huge classic artists. And they're like, yeah, like we're getting on in age and we're going to sell the rights to our catalog. Like, it's wild to understand that side of it.
It is kind of crazy. That like your art is going to be, still getting pushed in the future, like ultimately, right? Like somebody's paying a bunch of money for it. They're not going to be like, oh yeah, well, no, they passed away. We're not going to do anything anymore. Nah.
It makes me think it'd be really cool to have a business where you could buy the rights to a catalog and then sell the rights to like an individual song from the catalog to a person.
I think you can do that.
So that way, like, I could buy, one, like, for haha's sake, maybe Justin Timberlake's Bringing Sexy Back. I could buy that one song, and every time I make the 3 cents off that it plays the radio.
Oh, you meant like that? Oh.
Yeah, like you'd actually have the royalty right in that situation. Like, you'd have to have a company with like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in capital to be able to buy these up and then create a whole platform where people can sign up and pay their fee to be part of the program and then buy these rights and yada, 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 so that you're a sustainable business. It's not something that I have the power to do. I'm not a billionaire, but saying it'd be pretty cool because there's companies doing that with art where like they buy the royalty rights to famous art and then they sell shares of those rights to individual people. So like I could go buy a share of Starry Night by Van Gogh and every time it's printed, I could get a little cut like a stock market.
It's kind of a trip.
Right? Like, it'd be kind of wild.
Dude, I mean, that would be kind of cool if you could just like buy those rights for one song. I'm sure you can, but like if you could pull that off.
Yeah, like treating music rights like stocks. Where we could just buy and trade our music rights on a marketplace.
Dude, like this is going to sound pretty dark. So get ready for it. But I would probably want to pick a band that was like all still alive, but like they're all like getting close to the end. So like I know that I'm just going to get a massive pump. Yeah, like the Stones. Because I know.
Hey, let's be honest though. Keith Richards when never dying.
Well, but like at some point Mick Jagger will, like.
Right. Well, and that's the thing, right? It's like that is the idea, is that it would be bands like like the Rolling Stones and Kiss that have been doing it for 40, 50 plus years. And like they're reaching that time in retirement. They sell the rights to their catalog. This company buys those rights and then runs this stock market program. Like,
oh yeah. And you don't think they were doing that? They're totally doing that.
Oh no, I'm sure that they are doing that. Yeah.
I wonder. Let's find out.
Isn't it wild? This is a reoccurring thought that just keeps happening in my head, and it may have been something that we've talked about here. But isn't it crazy that everything we do as humans in modern day society, we made up?
Yeah, basically.
Like,
only things we didn't make up was having to eat food and having to drink water.
Everything else, we made it. Isn't that wild?
I mean, it's pretty crazy, especially if you like look around a room, you know?
Like what we're doing right now, like this is just something that somebody just like, I'm gonna do this. And now this is something that we can do, and we do, and as well as millions of other people. But like, just like, but it initially started off as like one small thing that turned into another thing, that turned into another thing, and then all these compounding things eventually turned society and what life is to exist into what it is today, compared to the biological need to eat, sleep, and procreate. It's kind of wild.
No, it's wild.
Just a high thought that's been happening, that's just been popping in my head like for like the past like week and a half, 2 weeks. Just like multiple things have happened, and I just think back like, and just like, we just made like some, either whether it being something good, bad, or I just see something random or just start thinking about something. I'm just like, man, we just made all this up.
I mean, I think
it's usually when it comes to like spending money or like paying a bill or, like going to work. You know what I mean? Like all those like the tedious little things that we have to do in order to survive in today's society, compared to just making sure you have food, water, somewhere to sleep, and then spending your time looking for and securing those things. But now we just do it in a crazy, weird, totally constructed way.
I heard it put like this, and I think it almost summarizes what you're saying, because it's coming to mind as you're talking about that. And it's somebody asked the question, "What's the weirdest thing you've ever done for money?" And this person's response was, "Traded 40 hours of my life a week."
Right.
And that is like, it's a weird thing to think about, right? Like when you work, you're selling your time to that company for a specific amount of money per hour that you give them. And they say, all right, we expect you to be here 40 hours a week. We give you this many dollars per hour, X amount of dollars per week. You agree? That's the deal. And you're right. Somewhere along the line, somebody was just like, we need to make a currency. Just exchanging goods for services isn't good enough.
Yeah, instead of services for services, or,
I can't just pay for furniture with pomegranates and pumpkins anymore. I have to have shillings or whatever. Like, yeah, it's a crazy
so you mean
notion.
you don't want this beaver pelt? But I need that fucking, I don't know. I was going to think of something else that's kind of rustic, but
I need that hatchet for the winter.
yeah, there you go. I'll give you 12 beaver pelts for that shotgun.
That bag of flour.
Yeah. And a bottle of your best whiskey. Let's go back to fucking like Red Dead Redemption times. Like, no, honestly, let's not do that. It was fucking brutal, dude.
Yeah. Things
Man,
honestly, like at the same time, like
the idea of like not lawless society.
Yeah, I know. No, I honestly, like, it's crazy because like I think back and it's just like so wild that like we have to live in this society where like our world revolves around this construct of a job and money and this and that. But then at the same time, I also think back to when like it wasn't really that, and how fucking barbaric and wild and just fucking crazy shit was. Oh man, what a crazy world we live in, a crazy life.
There's something to be said about communal living. You know what I mean? Like,
the problems are, Sean, is our communities are just too large. I feel
why
like that's what causes a lot of the issues in like certain areas. Because you notice a lot of the places that have like a lot of the crime are the most densely populated areas, and wherever.
Well, I mean, at that point,
also where there's the most cops to bust the people too.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I'm just saying, like, that's like another thing that like I think about too. There's so many cops in cities, but like, dude, out here I'd like never see cops unless I drive by the fucking stations.
It's you get funding based on the needs of your department and based on the population you serve. And so yeah, like a bigger city with a more densely populated area is definitely going to get more funding from more police officers. That's a definite fact. I think the issue is that we have densely populated urban areas that don't have any way to foster community in its true sense anymore, right? Like, there are plenty of stories of, the old days where like a community was legit, like there's a couple of streets, they were a community, everyone looked after each other, et cetera, and it had that vibe. But there's nothing to foster that stuff anymore. Like, community centers aren't really a thing in a lot of those places anymore. I know Boston struggles to get funding for them. And it's like, how do you provide what is needed so that the urge for crime isn't necessary? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're too busy at the community center playing basketball and, shit like that, you don't have time to get caught up in the gang life. Or at least that's the idea.
Yeah, like, dude, how many movies has there been, or like stories you've heard? Or,
but dude, the crazy part about it too is like the way that like things work is if like we were to try to change it to make it to where everybody possibly was able like this whole idea of like a social what's the fucking term? Fuck. Like a national like income what the fucking
oh, the net basic income.
Yeah, like where everybody gets pretty much the same, like a decent amount, for everybody could be able to afford all the essential things they need to live. And that way it affords them to pursue, what they actually love to do, sort of thing, whatever. Universal basic income. There we go. That's the fucking word. Now that it came to mind, I had to say it just so I got it. But like the whole thing with that is like at a certain point, like then who's going to be the people that are going to be doing the jobs to provide things that we need or want or use? Because like, dude, it's just a crazy thought. Unless AI does fully happen, and then we got robots and shit running and stuff, and then
ultimately,
and that could be kind of a thing. But at a certain point, don't you think it would turn into the Wall-E spaceship, where we're all just in floating chairs and robots are doing everything for us? I'm sorry, I just went down a weird fucking tangent there.
I think that like
I need to put this pen down. I keep hitting this fucking cart, dude, and I'm getting ripped.
I think that like a universal basic income has a great idea, but at the end of the day, like something has to pay for that, and that that comes in a form of a tax of some kind. And the idea I've heard floated is that it wouldn't be a large enough amount for you to do anything crazy. It would be enough that you could have your rent is paid and maybe some,
but that's like
to food.
And then when it comes down to that, like who's to determine what that value is? And then like, depending on where you're at, is that still going to be viable depending on, whatever, cause dude, the way just like the fucking whole system is kind of set up is crazy, dude. I never really, this is the crazy part about like this whole year in general. It's like, I've never really thought about like these types of like questions and topics all that much before. And it's like I'm kind of realizing that I definitely am getting a lot, older and kind of like changing my thought process and the way I look at a lot of things just globally and just like big picture things, you know what I mean? To where it's like I never really thought about them too much, but now just with everything that's going on, especially here in the States with the whole election that's gone down, a lot of these topics are getting thrown around just because they're big talking points because they're part of policies and things like that. It's just crazy. That's like how kind of deep into thought I've gotten about a lot of these different topics that I never really thought about all that much before.
Yeah, man, that happens.
Yeah.
I think that like lots of people never care about politics, never care about how things work.
So I'm not even so much thinking about the politics as much as I am just
but you're thinking about
big
like
picture,
what these politic things are about, right? So like there might be talking about issues, and you might think about
like issues or just like
politics.
Different energy sources and all this like big picture things, like what's where things going to end up being in the future as a whole for the world, not necessarily just for me and my little bubble. You know what I mean?
It's an interesting situation, right? Because like it's a lot to take in. Like I can't fully fathom what it must be like for people who are like economists, for example, who have to look at a ton of data and through all of that data determine like the trend that is happening and how things should or could be adjusting in order to make things happen one way or the other. Like the more I think about those things, it gets crazy because it's like I was having a discussion with my wife about it. It was like if you removed people from this one role, then what's going to happen? This is going to go up. This is going to change. This thing has to change. Then this, and like I started walking through in this discussion, like all of the trickle down of just removing like one role in our society. And I was like, it's crazy to think about because like you remove this like one area of production in this one field, and all of a sudden it trickles into all of these other things and affects so much shit that next thing you know, like your head starts to spin in the conversation because you're like, how did I get from a dock worker to,
it's
aerospace?
It's the human web weave, bro, with just the way that our society works and how everything in some way, shape, or form is tied together. And everything at the end of the day is tied to money, which is the craziest part. You know what I mean? Because that one thing dictates pretty much everything else as far as, pretty much most things, you know what I mean? And
yeah, I mean,
as well as the U.S.
economy
society.
is like it's money.
Like, it's just a trip, dude.
It's a weird situation.
Obviously, it's not. You can obviously survive, with far less than a lot of other people can, depending on what type of life you choose to live. You know what I mean? If you're someone who's like off the grid and chooses to gather your own food by hunting and foraging or gardening or whatever else, like of course you can live a pretty happy lifestyle. That's the kind of lifestyle if you're looking for. But it's dude, I don't know, man. My brain's just so fucking like all over the place right now. I think it's because I'm super high, as well as just like I said, I've just had a lot of like weird kind of like, not like existential crisis thoughts, but just like, whoa, dude, like thinking bigger picture and just like crazy how all of this is things that, we have created that have all in some way, shape, or form have either grown into other things or have just transformed into other things that have made the world work the way it does now.
100%. Like when you talk about the money, I think one of the things that blew my mind was what I learned how the Federal Reserve works, the gold standard, and when we went off the gold standard, and the way that debt creates money in this country. And it's wild. Because when you begin to learn that, you're like, no wonder shit is this crazy. Like, I want to go back and rewatch those documentaries now, because it's been probably 10 or 15 years since I learned these things from those documentaries with an understanding that I have from my experience in life now, and see what I gain from all of that information again. Because, like, it's wild that you have to create a debt to be able to create the money, to be able to print the money to pay the debt that you have to create to make the money. So it ends up being this weird situation where there isn't enough actual physical currency to pay all of the debt that exists because of the way that the system works.
Oh, dude. Like, I think that every country, if got called on all their debts, would be bankrupt.
Oh, 100%.
There'd be zero. There'd be like negative.
The Western
dollar
world, for sure.
Yeah, there'd just be negative currency. That's what it would be.
IOUs.
Yeah.
Like, what's that extra thing in your bank account? Oh, that's just IOUs.
Let's just say if the debt was the ocean, that it would be gone, and all the lakes and every water source gone.
Yeah, like there's no multimillionaires and billionaires who are withdrawing their full net worth anywhere without destroying an economy. Like, point blank.
And that's another crazy thing, bro. Is just the amount of power money has when it comes to the way that governments are ran. And oh, dude.
Yep. Subsidies and all these other interest groups and the way that it all works.
Corporations and shareholders and lobbyists.
It's insane.
Dude, honestly, it's crazy. Like, I can't even imagine living my life and those things being the things that I had to do.
Oh, dude, there's no way I would be able to live that do that, any of that as like my occupation, bro, or like my career. Dude, I would lose my fucking mind, bro. Just doing the amount of like, I wouldn't even call it research, but just like looking into like things. And I wouldn't even say looking into it as much as I'm just like listening to different people talk about all this shit and just like absorbing all this. It's overwhelming, bro.
I know I worked for a woman who once was a lobbyist in Washington for a corporate interest. And she said she got out of that industry because being a lobbyist sucks. She had to carry a notebook with all of the lies that she had been telling to people in order to
keep everything straight.
Yeah, in order to keep these people happy and get what the company needs out of these politicians and shit. Like, that's what lobbyists do. They just try to get these politicians to do the things that are most beneficial for the business and not beneficial for people. And it's insane. It's insanity. Lobbyists should be gone. Huge corporate contributions should be gone.
My whole thought is there's just fucking money should not be involved when it comes to politics, man. You shouldn't be having fucking...
Did you know what I heard somebody say? I think it was a couple of days ago, and it was a separate conversation, so I know that this is new to both of you guys. They're saying that what they think that they should do, instead of how now, I guess, like, people can like give money to governments and like for their campaigns and all that stuff, and like I think I heard some statistics, some like, Kamala Harris spent like over 800 million, Donald Trump spent like 600 million or something like that on their campaigns. That there should just be like a cap and it's like you can spend 300 million, like not including the Secret Service or whatever. You know what I mean? And you just that's it. That's what you can get. So there's like no extra this, extra that. And I thought that was actually probably pretty good to have like a cap. I mean, there's probably be ways that people would circumvent it, but at least if it was there,
there should just be funds for each party. You know what I mean? And like you're saying, like there should be a certain amount, like for when it comes to campaigning, you know what I mean? And that's what they use to get that done. They shouldn't be taking money from donors,
split in half.
because once you start taking money from donors and shit like that, you have to start making decisions based off of policies that they want to see. Otherwise, you're not going to continue to get the money that you need to campaign from those donors. So you got to keep your donors happy by, hitting the policies and things that they want, and making decisions based off of your donors compared to making decisions based off of what's good for the American people.
I mean, it's the same with business, right? It's the shareholder mentality.
Exactly.
It's the shareholder mentality completely in the same way, where fuck what is best for the worker. It's what's going to make the most profit.
Yeah, it's what's best for the fucking corporation. What's going to continue to make
out of the stock?
Yeah, how can we continue to make more profits and continue to keep our shareholders happy and continue to keep shareholders buying stock? They're not going to continue to keep buying stock, and our shares aren't going to continue to keep going up. Then we fucked. It's crazy. I don't even know that much about the stock market and stuff, but kind of feel like I know it.
You
might have like a rough idea.
Yeah, like I kind of understand like the inner working, not the inner workings, the just outer, glance.
Yeah, you get the idea. You get the idea. I mean, stocks are such a weird thing, right? Because like you go to one of these companies and you're like, let me invest this money in some stocks, and like maybe they're one of these companies that they invest it in a little bit of everything, and so you're just getting some good trickle down returns. Or maybe they're aggressive investment firm and they go after like specific things, and it can be crazy. And then you get into that whole like special interest, insider trading nonsense where like people own stock in companies but have an interest in what those companies do. Like, is it really right to be the guy who makes decisions about defense contract spending and you own a major stake in a defense contractor? I mean, wouldn't it be in your best interest as a shareholder to make sure that the defense contracts you give out go to the company you have shares in? Sounds like a conflict of interest.
I can't believe that ever happened, Sean. Come on.
Right? Like, no, that's not a thing at all. I'll tell you what right now. The best piece of investment advice I was ever given, and you take it for what it is, but it seems like it seems logical to me. Follow the politicians and their investments. Wherever they're putting the money, you put your money.
Dude,
wherever they're taking the money, you take your money.
Whatever Nancy Pelosi does, do whatever she's doing, and you're fucking golden, dude.
100%.
If you could follow her wallets, or however.
If she can be more successful than Warren Buffett, so can you. That's all I'm saying. Maybe it'd be some little inside information on her side, but hey, I'm just allegedly.
I mean, you might have a little bit of influence to see that things go one way or another, for sure. That could totally be a thing. But yeah. Like it's a great piece of advice. That's all I'm saying. Take it for what it is. But that's public information to see what they're trading in. So as elected officials, so have fun with that knowledge. Enjoy. That's the 5-pound sledge by the door. Use the information as you will. Right? Like, not telling you what to do with it. I'm just saying it's there.
Anywho.
And with that oddball segue, it is a great way for us to bring this show to a close. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. Be a good friend and slap the like and the subscribes and all the things and the buttons. We do appreciate it. It helps us show up in the algorithms. I'm going to go ahead and throw it off to Uncle Chris to take us on home.
Thanks, everybody, for catching up with us again this week. Appreciate you, as always. Of course, just go to shedtimepodcast.com. Just check it out. You can obviously stream through there. Maybe you're streaming through it right now, so kudos to you if you are. Check us out Friday nights on Frames, Jankel, and Vapors YouTube channel for the Green Room, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Just come kick it. It's a little bit different vibe than here, but obviously it's still our vibe, so you probably enjoy yourself. I think that's everything for me, so everybody be safe. Have a good week. Live your best life. James.
As always, shout out to all the Shedheads for all your guys' continuous support. We greatly, greatly appreciate you. Make sure you're leaving those 5-star reviews. Chris pretty much covered everything else. So if not, just go check out shedtimepodcast.com. All the links and everything's over there. Other than that, I'm going to send it out, as I always do, with all those positive vibes. Chris high fives. Don't forget to tell somebody you love them. And as always, the little bag or dab will do you.
That's a fact, Jack. And one last time, thank you all of the Shedhead Nation. You guys really are the best. It is an honor to be in your ear holes every week. And, of course, shedtimepodcast.com, like James said, links to everything, including the Patreon, where you can get advanced access to episodes and, easy contact with us to make suggestions, ask some questions, and access to the Discord. So check us out, shedtimepodcast.com. With that, I'm going to tell you, don't want the best to get you down. Be cool, don't be a dick, and whatever it is you do, try and have some fun, because it's the Shedtime Podcast, and it's time to roll on up and roll on out. Holy cottonmouth. I need some more Mandarin.
I have some water, bro. The ice cubes weren't fully frozen. I'm really trying to build up the bag of ice. So then on the days that I just burn out and forget to make ice, because I have these mini ice cubes.